Let's get into the newest segment here on our show, which is our Mint Mobile Hotline Question of the Day. Lou, what do we got going on in the Mint Mobile Hotline Question?
All right. Well, first, to have your voice heard on the show and your question answered, you're going to go ahead and call and leave a voicemail at 951-268-4259. And today's Mint Mobile Question of the Day comes to us from Jack, who's asking about that House of the Dragon finale.
Hey, John, this is Jack. Just finished watching episode 10 of the House of the Dragon. Am I crazy, or was this one of the best first seasons of a TV show, like, ever? Maybe the best. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, Jack. And of course, House of the Dragon just had its finale. I suspected the show would be good. We've talked a lot about this recently. I thought the show was going to be good. I didn't know the show was going to be this good. Like, I am kind of floored. Now, we got to acknowledge that we as fans of anything, we have what's called recency bias, where it's like the newest thing we think is the greatest thing ever. And you know, we don't really think about it a lot. And so we got to be careful to guard ourselves against recency bias. And nothing is more recent than the finale of Game of Thrones, which just kind of played, or House of the Dragon, which just sort of played. But I will tell you this, while trying to block out recency bias, and really we can't evaluate this until we got like a year separated between us and the show that just finished. But for now, I will say this. I don't think I can think of 3 or 4 shows that I think had a better first season. Like, again, talk to me again in a year. I might change my answer on that. Maybe I'll put it lower down the list. But off the top of my head, I still think Heroes season 1 was probably the best first season of a show I ever saw. I mean, that show grabbed your attention immediately, kept you intrigued all the way. It's a shame that the whole series couldn't follow up on season 1 the way it did. Breaking Bad had an incredible first season.
Sopranos,
yep. One of the best. Captured the world's attention. So I don't know that I'd be willing personally to say it's the best first season of television. I do think it was better than Game of Thrones season 1, but then again, it got to stand on Game of Thrones' shoulders and build off what Game of Thrones did. But I would definitely slide Heroes in front of it. Sopranos is probably one that I'd also have to slide in front of it. I love Sons of Anarchy, but I think I would put this one above the first season of Sons of Anarchy. So again, off the top of my head, don't hold me to it, I will say top 3. Christian, what about you? Guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of this video, Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month. And now for the plot twist. I'm just kidding. There isn't one. Mint Mobile just has premium wireless from $15 a month. There's no trapping you into a 2-year contract or opening the bill to find all these crazy fees. There's no luring you in with free subscriptions to streaming services that you'll forget to cancel and be charged full price for. With my old wireless provider, every month when I opened the bill, it was like playing roulette. I never knew how big the bill was going to be, and it always seemed to get bigger. With Mint Mobile, it's totally different. I know exactly how little I'm paying every month, and there's never any surprises. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying for one or a family. And at Mint Mobile, families start at just 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. And guys, you get to use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. So transferring over couldn't be easier. So to get premium wireless from just $15 a month and no unexpected plot twists, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. You'll make your wallet very happy at mintmobile.com/Campea.
It's in the conversation. It's absolutely in the conversation. And as you say, it's so recent, and again, as you said, with how it built off of Game of Thrones, right? And the reason why, you also remember that even though it did build off Game of Thrones, the last season of Game of Thrones, you and me on a different island, most people didn't like that season, right?
Yeah.
So they were coming in with, all right, what do you got now, Game of Thrones? Right. So even though they were coming off of a successful lore, they still had a lot to do, and they did it. And they did it well. And what I thought really worked for them, and the reason why is because Game of Thrones had so many great storylines, but there were a lot of storylines you had to grab onto. This was one contained story about the politics of this family and holding on to power. And it just did it right. And I mean, the last moments, I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody, but the last moments of that finale, you saw,
I watched your response.
I did a reaction to it, and I couldn't believe it. I was just like, the way that, because I cared. because of the build-up throughout it and how genius the writing was from start to finish, and the build-up of why I cared about these characters as opposed to just throwing people into situations. So I think it's definitely part of the conversation. I would put it up there with Sopranos and Breaking Bad personally, but I want to go back and rewatch it again as well.
You're talking about like Game of Thrones had a whole bunch more storylines going on, but they still didn't skimp out on every single character had incredible depth.
Of course.
You know, Jonathan just had pictures of Corlys and Rhaenys up there. Both of them, incredible characters. Corlys's brother before he lost his head, right? Amazing character. Hell, freaking little Aegon is even...
All of them.
You love that he's in this show. From Alicent and Rhaenyra, Chris. I mean, no character I hate more than Sir Criston, but still, he adds dimension to the show. Like, they just flesh it out so well. So, Rob, for you, is the first season of House of the Dragon in that conversation for you about best first seasons ever?
Well, here's the thing. Yes. The short answer is yes. But you also have to go back, like I would say, some of the most significant seasons of the original Twilight Zone, all the way back to 1959. You know, you have to say that was some of the most groundbreaking. At the time, there was exponentially less TV in 1959 than there is now. But if you look at the whole history of television and all the different genres of shows, I definitely think this is one of the best. And like you look at HBO, let's go back and look at HBO's track record. The Wire, The Sopranos. I mean, I remember watching the first season of The Sopranos, which I still think it's a one-season show. I know why it continued on, but the whole dynamic between Uncle June, Tony Soprano's mother, Livia, and Tony Soprano, it was as Machiavellian as this first season. And it was like a family. It was just different. But this is definitely one of the best, most satisfying, because like you said, it was self-contained, but riveting. The performances, the filmmaking. And I'll tell you what, Ryan Condal and George R. R. Martin are the showrunners.
No,
the
creators.
They're
the
creators. Pardon me, but they're the creators of the show are Ryan Condal and George R. R. Martin. The showrunners were Miguel Sapochnik and Ryan Condal together.
Right. And what a job they did.
They got to bring Miguel back, though. If they lose, because Miguel walked off. And
he's
gone.
I know, but they got to get him back.
Well,
I'm telling you.
I think as a director, because he directed, God, what did he direct? He directed a movie that...
he's still connected. He's still going to be attached as an executive producer on the show.
Yeah, but I mean, you know as well as I do. Sometimes just like he's not even going to be doing anything.
I know.
Yeah,
but I think that having George R. R. Martin as the actual co-creator of the show, the fact that they're sticking pretty close to the narrative, unlike what happened with the latter seasons of Game of Thrones, they have George R. R. Martin's narrative,
which won them their most Emmys, by the way. Just want to throw that out.
Yeah. Well, but they also have stuck pretty close to it, and even in the narrative. So if you've read the books. They even say the Maesters may not have been telling you the entire truth. It's ambiguous, but this show has actually become the definitive version of that narrative as opposed to the book, and I think it's genius.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What did you think about this? And maybe you didn't even like House of the Dragon. Maybe you haven't even watched it yet. But if you did, does the first season rank up there for you amongst some of the best first seasons ever? Maybe you might think it's the best one. I don't think so, but it's damn high up there. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there.